This conference will now be recorded.
Ventricular septal defect. Okay. Any topics regarding heart disease has been covered recently? Hello, Jyoti Prakash. Jyoti Prakash. Jyoti Prakash. Are you able to hear?
Sir, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Are you able to hear?
Hello, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Recently, any topic regarding heart disease has been covered?
Congenital heart disease.
Acyanotic congenital heart disease.
Okay, acyanotic congenital heart disease. What is this PSD? Is it cyanotic or acyanotic? Please speak out. Hello. Please speak out.
Acyanotic.
Congenital heart disease. What is there to say that no one is responding? Okay. VSD is a hole in the or a defect in the septum between that divides the two lower chambers of the heart, that is ventricles. Okay. Resulting in a communication between these two cavities. It was first clinically described by Roger in 1879. Incidence and prevalence. Okay, incidence. VSD is the most common congenital cardiac anomaly in neonates. Okay, it may be an isolated defect or a part of complex malformation. Okay, like tetralogy of Fallot, it may be a part of that complex malformation, or it can occur as an isolated defect which can close on by itself in majority of the cases. Okay, the incidence of VSD is approximately 2 per 1000 live births. The prevalence among school age children has been estimated as 1 per 1000, but majority of them will be silent in school age children. Male and females are equally affected. There is no gender predilection. Okay. It can occur in association with coaptation of aorta, ASD, PDA, and intracardiac obstruction such as subpulmonary or subaortic stenosis, mitral stenosis, and anomalous muscle bundle of the right ventricle. Okay, incompetent atrioventricular valves. Coming to the anatomy of VSD, if you take the anatomy, the anatomical location is divided into a small perimembranous variety or a large muscular portion, because the ventricle is divided by a septum in between, which has two parts. One is the membranous part and the large portion of muscular part. Okay, if the communication occurs in the membranous part, it is called as perimembranous type of VSD. If it occurs in the large muscular portion, it is called as muscular variety. It has many subtypes. In the septum, if the defect occurs in the inlet septum, that is called inlet variety. In the outlet septum, outlet, and trabecular portion, you can see here the trabecular portion. This is the inlet septum, outlet septum, and the trabecular septum. In the trabecular septum, you have divided into anterior, posterior, mid, and apical. This is the apex. So apical portion is this, mid portion is somewhere here, anterior is here, and the posterior will be here. Okay. So if you see in the cut section, this is the muscular interventricular septal defect. This is purely in the interventricular muscular portion. And if you see here, this is the pulmonary valve. Below this, there is a communication between the ventricles through a perimembranous type of VSD, that too subpulmonic variety, subpulmonic. Okay. And if you see here, his defect is in the completely membranous portion. Ventricular septum viewed from the left ventricle. The same view, if you see from the right ventricle, the perimembranous defect. Okay. This is subpulmonic variety. So perimembranous defects. The perimembranous defect involve varying amounts of muscular tissue. Okay, so perimembranous defects not only involves the membranous septum, it involves some amount of muscular tissue adjacent to it. That is called as perimembranous defects. Okay, according to the accompanying defect in the adjacent muscular septum, perimembranous VSD has been called as perimembranous inlet variety, outlet variety, or the trabecular type. Okay. So the most common varieties is the perimembranous type. Rather than the muscular type, it is the commonest type. So if you take the perimembranous inlet variety, that is also called as atrioventricular canal type of AV canal type of VSD, and the perimembranous trabecular VSD, perimembranous infundibular VSD. Okay, so if you see, this is the one, perimembranous inlet variety, inlet septum. This is so inlet variety or AV canal. Perimembranous trabecular. This is the trabecular portion of the septum. So it is in the trabecular portion. The B is perimembranous trabecular VSD. If you take the C, perimembranous infundibular variety. So that is below this aortic cusps and all. Inlet muscular VSD. This is the D. So this is the inlet portion from atrium to ventricle. So it occurs in the inlet ventricular septum, interventricular septum. So D is inlet muscular VSD. E is the trabecular muscular VSD. This is the muscular. All D, E, and F are muscular varieties. E is trabecular. F is the infundibular or the outlet muscular VSD. G is the subarterial, infundibular or subcrystal variety of VSD. So A, B, C are perimembranous types. D, E, F, and G are muscular types. Okay, understood. So what is Swiss cheese variety of VSD? This is called as Swiss cheese. If you see, there are multiple punch hole types of defects like the Swiss cheese variety. This is the muscular portion. In the muscular portion itself, there are small multiple defects. Communication between the two ventricles. The Swiss cheese type of muscular VSD is extremely difficult to close surgically. If it is single defect, it can be closed surgically easily. But if it is multiple small defects, very difficult to close surgically. Remember that. What is Gerbert defect? Gerbert defect is, this is a defect located in the membranous portion of the atrioventricular septum. Atrioventricular septum. It is not only in the ventricular septum, it is in the atrioventricular septum. So what happens during systole? Blood from left ventricle not only enters into aorta, it also enters into right atrium. So the left ventricle to right atrial defect. Understood? So left ventricle to right atrium shunting of blood will be there. This is uncommon and it is small defect only. This is called as Gerbert defect. So based on the size, whenever they ask you in exam what is small, moderate or large VSD, you have to mention by classifying it based on its size. How will you classify based on its size? It is comparing with the size of the aortic root. If it is small, the defect size is less than 1/3 of the size of the aortic root. Less than 1/3 of the size of the aortic root is called as small VSD. If the defect size is less than 1/2 of the size of the aortic root, it is called as moderate VSD. And if the defect size is larger than the size of the aortic root, it is called as large VSD. Understood? So classification based on systolic, systemic and pulmonary pressures. Okay, there are three varieties of classification. There is three varieties under this classification. They are restrictive VSD, moderately restrictive VSD and non-restrictive VSD. Restrictive VSD means the defect is small. That's why the ratio of circulation, pulmonary circulation to systemic pressure, this is less than or equal to 1.4:1. This is restrictive variety and it indicates there is little shunting of blood from systemic to pulmonary side. In moderate restrictive VSD, the QP to QS ratio, it will range between 1.4 to 2.2:1. Okay, so this defect is moderate in size. Okay, and non-restrictive type of VSD, it is pulmonary circulation will be more than the systemic circulation and more blood will be flowing onto the pulmonary side, and if not treated early, it can lead to Eisenmenger complex. So there will be increase in pulmonary pressures if there is no restriction of blood from the left ventricle to the right ventricle and to the pulmonary circulation. So in non-restrictive VSDs, patient will present early in heart failure as well as if untreated for prolonged period enters into increased pulmonary pressures and leading to Eisenmengerization. Have you heard of Eisenmengerization? Hello? Hello, sleeping boys, girls. Hello. What is Eisenmengerization? తెలుసా తెలీదా?
తెలియదు సార్.
Eisenmengerization means increase in pulmonary systemic pressures compared to systolic systemic pressures due to unrestricted blood shunting from left to, that is systolic side to systemic side to pulmonary side. That is called as Eisenmengerization, and due to increased pulmonary pressures, gradually the shunt will be reversed from right to left. Okay, understood? Gradually there will be pulmonary vaso-occlusive disease occurring and there will be increase in muscularization of the pulmonary vessels, gradual increase in pulmonary pressure, that is pulmonary hypertension, and pulmonary hypertension will lead to right to left shunting of blood and cyanosis. This is called as Eisenmengerization. Understood? So if you take ventriculography, what is ventriculography? Hello? What is ventriculography? What is ventriculography? This is what is the catheter. If you see, it is inserted from the aorta into the heart and to left ventricle. Okay, this catheter, through this catheter, we will be giving a dye and we will see where this dye is going. If there is any communication, it will enter into the pulmonary side. Understood? So, and the defect also we can identify. Where is the defect? Is it tubular type or window type? Aneurysmal type. This is the tubular type. This is the window type. Aneurysmal type. This is aneurysm. And infundibular type. Okay. So based on ventriculography, we will be say classifying the defect. Okay. So coming to embryology. Did you complete embryology? Geeta Pavani has left, 79 absent. Vamsi has left, 72 is absent. If you give attendance, I will take severe action. Okay, 72 is absent and Geeta Pavani is also absent. If you don't stay in class and if you arrive in between, I will keep you 2 to 3 classes absent. I will complain to principal also. Understood? Embryology complete అయిందా లేదా? ఎంబ్రియాలజీ కంప్లీట్ అయిందా లేదా మీకు సబ్జెక్ట్? Geeta Pavani absent. I don't care whether she come or not. 79 is absent. Embryology participation. So if you see, there is 2 atrium here. Ventricle is in the developing stage. 2 ventricles are in developing stage. So partitioning of the ventricular mass begins from the muscular ridge. From the lower part, the ventricular septum start growing upwards. Okay, in the floor of the ventricle near the apex. This is the apex of the heart. From here, the ventricular septum starts growing. This ridge later undergoes active growth, which forms the muscular ventricular septum. Concomitantly, 132 absent, Tejaswini. 79, 132. Concomitantly, the endocardial cushion defects. Here the endocardial cushions are there. They will fuse here, and the 2 regions meet. So this is the endocardial cushion, and the interventricular septum has to come here, and it will meet. If it don't meet, then there will be possibility of some endocardial cushion defects as well as VSDs. So what is the natural history of VSD? Approximately 25% of small defects close spontaneously by 18 months and 50% by 4 years of age and 75% by 10 years of age. Okay, so majority of small defects you can follow through and with echocardiogram and you can reassure them. Understood? A spontaneous closing rate approximating or approaching 72. Vamsi also absent. I have seen already Vamsi left previously. 72, 79 absent, 132 absent. A spontaneous closure rate approaching 45% within the first 12 to 14 months has been observed among infants with an uncomplicated perimembranous or muscular VSD in the neonatal period. So within the first 12 to 14 months, the closure rate is 45%. Even large defects tend to become smaller, but may not close, but large defects will tend to become smaller. Defects close by 2 mechanisms, by muscular septum growth and aneurysmal tissue formation. Septal leaflet of the tricuspid valve as in the case of perimembranous defects. Okay. So two mechanisms, that is muscular septum overgrowth with age. Second one is aneurysmal tissue along with the septal leaflet obstructing the perimembranous defects and leading to closure. Ashita Padma left 90 absent, 72, 79 and 90, 132 absent. Natural history, endocarditis is a risk because the small defect in the VSD, small type of VSD, there will be turbulence across the communication, which leads to erosion of the endothelium and exposing the subendothelial collagen tissue. So platelets may clog there, and platelets clots may be there, and over which infection will occur. That leads to endocarditis. They are at high risk for endocarditis. Endocarditis most frequently involves the septal leaflet of the tricuspid valve apparatus at the point of jet impact. Okay, so this is the point where endocarditis may start. A large VSD during childhood is typically associated with significant left to right shunt and eventual development of congestive heart failure. Patient with moderate sized VSD can survive into adulthood before detection. Given the gradual development of symptoms in these patients, they may not present until late in the disease course. In these patients, the excess right-sided flow may lead to pulmonary vascular disease and Eisenmenger physiology if left untreated. Understood? If it is a large defect and excessive right side flow from left side may lead to pulmonary vascular disease, that is pulmonary hypertension and Eisenmenger physiology if left untreated. So what are the risk factors of decreased survival in VSD candidates? Cardiomegaly seen on chest radiograph means congestive heart failure has started. Elevated pulmonary arterial systolic pressure. Normally pulmonary artery systolic pressure will be at around 25, 5 to 25. But it is more than 60 mmHg and more than half of the systemic pressure. So cardiovascular symptoms such as shortness of breath, fatigue or dyspnea on exertion, because congestive heart failure features all these. Sashasri 121 absent, 72, 79, 90 Sashasri 122 and 132 absent. Progressive aortic insufficiency. Clinical manifestations. Absent is 72, 79, 90, 122, 132. So with a small VSD, the patient is.
No, 122 present, sir.
మరి ఎవరమ్మా left 120?
121, sir, not 122.
121 left ఇప్పుడు.
Yes, sir, 122 present.
121 ఎవరమ్మా? Sashasriya?
Yes, sir.
Sashasriya absent. 121 absent. Sorry, 121. So history, with a small VSD, the patient is asymptomatic with normal growth and development. With a moderate to large VSD, children will have delayed growth and development because majority of the what and nutritive intake they are taking will be utilized by this and exertion. They may have decreased exercise tolerance, dyspnea, pulmonary infections frequently because majority of the blood flow is flowing towards the pulmonary side and there will be pulmonary congestion which leads to repeated pulmonary infections, lower respiratory infections, and congestive heart failure are relatively common during infancy. Okay, with long-standing pulmonary hypertension, there will be a history of cyanosis and decreased level of activity. Physical examination, if you examine the infant with small VSDs are well developed and a cyanotic. Small VSD usually asymptomatic they will be, except if you auscultate, there may be small systolic murmur, which may be a holosystolic or early systolic murmurs of grade 2 to 4. Before 2 to 3 months of age, infants with large VSD may have poor weight gain and show signs of congestive heart failure. So large VSD, they may present from anywhere around 2 to 3 months of age, 1.5 months to 45 days to 60 days, or up to 3 months they can present early. Cyanosis and clubbing may be seen in patients with pulmonary vascular obstructive disease, that is called Eisenmenger syndrome. Precordium, if you see, 2 has arrived, but 2 is absent because he has left. A systolic thrill 08, Anjali Mediboini has absent, 0.8, 08. A systolic thrill may be present at the lower sternal, left sternal border. Thrill is nothing but when you palpate with your base of the hand on the left parasternal area, you will be feeling the murmur. That is called as thrill. Okay, and precordial bulge and hyperactivity of the heart can be seen with large shunting VSDs. The intensity of second heart sound, P2, is normal if the shunt is small because not much blood is going from left to right. Understood? So P2 second heart sound will be normal in case of small or moderately increased shunt. But the second heart sound is loud when there is large amount of blood flowing from left to right and there is development of pulmonary hypertension. So there will be loud second heart sound. So if you see in the heart, this is first heart sound, this is second heart sound. The murmur is present throughout the systole. The distance between S1 and S2 is the systole. So this is called as holosystolic murmur. This is called as the early diastolic murmur. Okay. So a grade 2 to 5 of 6. If you take 6 as the highest grade, 2 to 5. Systolic murmur is audible at the lower left sternal border. It may be holosystolic or early systolic like this. An apical diastolic rumble is present with moderate to large shunt. With infundibular variety of VSD, grade 1 to 3 of 6. That is early diastolic decrescendo murmur of aortic regurgitation, because in the infundibular variety of VSD, there will be associated aortic regurgitation in majority of the cases. So there may be early diastolic decrescendo murmur associated when there is infundibular type of VSD. ECG. With a small VSD, the ECG change findings may be normal. With moderate VSD, left ventricular hypertrophy may be present and occasional left atrial hypertrophy may be seen, LVH and LIH, with slight left-sided left axis deviation. With a large defect, the ECG may show biventricular hypertrophy because blood is shunting more from left to right. There will be increase in pulmonary pressures and right ventricular hypertrophy can occur. That is called biventricular hypertrophy, with or without left atrial hypertrophy. If pulmonary vascular occlusive disease develops, the ECG shows right ventricular hypertrophy only. Pulmonary vascular occlusive disease develops, ECG shows only because already Eisenmengeration happened and there will be increase in pressures in the right ventricular side and there will be right ventricular hypertrophy only. So if you see in this, there is biventricular hypertrophy. If you see, both the R wave and S wave are of equal size from V2, V3, sorry, V2, V4 and V5. If you see equal. So this is large biphasic QRS complexes seen from V2 to V5. This is called Katz-Wachtel phenomenon. Okay, biventricular hypertrophy seen in. So 29 Sumana is left. So 29 absent. Radiography. So cardiomegaly of varying degrees is present and involves the left atrium, left ventricular and sometimes right ventricle. Okay. So majority it will be involving the left ventricular, left atrium only, and rarely right ventricle when isomerization develops. Pulmonary vascular markings will increase because more blood is flowing through the lungs. So pulmonary vascular markings increase. The degree of cardiomegaly and the increase in pulmonary vascular marking directly relate to the magnitude of left to right shunt. The more the left to right shunt, the more is the cardiomegaly and more is the pulmonary vascular markings. In pulmonary vascular occlusive disease, the main pulmonary artery and the hilar pulmonary arteries enlarge noticeably, but the peripheral lung fields are ischemic because in the pulmonary vascular occlusive disease, so Ravi Varma 135 left absent. In the pulmonary vascular occlusive disease, the main pulmonary artery and the hilar pulmonary arteries enlarge because of hypertension, but peripheral arteries will become smaller and smaller because of hyperplasia. So there will be lung ischemia in the peripheral field. So this is the cardiomegaly. Heart is enlarged downward and outward, and there is perihilar congestion if you see, and the peripheral lung fields are oligemic. So here the pulmonary bay is also increased. Echocardiography. Two-dimensional and Doppler echocardiographic studies can identify number, size, and exact location of the defect. Estimate pulmonary arterial pressures by using the modified Bernoulli's equation. Identify other defects and estimate the magnitude of shunt. This is out of your purview, but you should be knowing that 2D echo so shows the number and size and defect of the location and pulmonary arterial pressures. So if you see here, the defect, both the ventricles and the VSD, perimembranous type of VSD. This is the color Doppler showing shunting across the two ventricles. So cardiac cath shows an increase in oxygen saturation in the right ventricle because there is mixing of blood from left to right shunt and increase in oxygen saturation in the right ventricular level. With small defect, right ventricle and pulmonary arterial systolic pressures will be normal. With large defect, these pressures are at or near systemic levels. Okay, LV-graphy we already discussed. Aortography to see whether associated PD and coarctation of aorta are present. Okay, this is the LV-graphy already seen. Management. First, always treat congestive heart failure underlying. Okay, so first thing is rest. Give sufficient rest to the patient. Auto inhalation, diuretics. Auto inhalation because he will be hypoxic, so you should give oxygen. Diuretics because there will be reduction of preload. Okay, and the failing heart, if you reduce preload, you will be reducing the preload on the heart and functioning of the heart improves. So diuretic. Digoxin nowadays they have stopped using. Vasodilators, hydralazine. Okay, and vasodilators can be used to reduce the afterload. Prophylaxis for infective endocarditis. No exercise restriction is required in the absence of pulmonary hypertension. If there is pulmonary hypertension, exercise restriction will be there and you should do. Device closure. trabecular type of VSD has proved more amenable to this technique, device closure, because of their relatively straightforward anatomy and a muscular rim is there, to which the device attaches well, and therefore results is excellent and closure rates with low procedural mortality. Closure of perimembranous VSD is technically more challenging because of their proximity to valve structures. Careful patient selection is required. Understood? So perimembranous VSD is technically difficult to close rather than muscular and trabecular variety of VSD. So this is the Amplezzer muscular VSD occluder. Okay, it understood. So it consists of three components: an LV disc, a connecting waist. Okay, two discs are there, LV disc and a RV disc. There is a communication in between waist called as connecting waist. 1 minute, excuse me. Hello? Hello, Maya? Hello? 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 హలో సర్లే క్లాస్ మావే చేస్తున్నాడు క్లాస్ అయిన తర్వాత మాట్లాడతాను ఒక 5 నిమిషాలు. The Amplezzer muscular VSD occluder consists of three components: a LV disc, a connecting waist, and a RV disc. Polyester fabric is present in both discs and the connecting waist. Okay, these two discs and there will be connecting waist in between. So this is the device, and the device is open here. If you see the two disc, one disc, two discs, and a connecting waist is there between 1 and 2. What are the complication of device closure? Whenever there is 143 left, Kavya Chodavarapu, 143 absent. Complication of device closure: device embolization, arrhythmias can occur, air embolism can occur, hemolysis can occur, because the foreign body platelets will attach. 50, Gautam Jolkanti, 50 absent. Device embolization, arrhythmias, air embolism, hemolysis, and valvular regurgitation and heart block. Surgical indications: a significant LR shunt, left to right shunt with pulmonary to systemic circulation of greater than 2:1 is an indication of surgical closure. Understood? 12 Arnav was left.
The 12 present, sir.
Surgery is
12 present.
12 left.
Present, sir.
Here I have it has showed me Arnav has left. Okay, you are there, no? So I am cancelling your number. Okay. Okay.
Yes, sir.
You are present. A significant left to right shunt with the pulmonary to systemic pressures of greater than 2:1 is an indication for surgical closure. Surgery is not indicated for a small VSD with less than QP to QS, that is pressures less than 1.5:1. Okay, for large shunting only surgery is required. For no shunting or small shunting, no surgery is required. Timing: infants with congestive heart failure and growth retardation unresponsive to medical therapy should be operated at any age, that is including early infancy, because congestive heart failure and growth retardation unresponsive. Infants with large VSD and evidence of increasing pulmonary vascular resistance should be operated on as soon as possible. Large VSD and increasing pulmonary vascular. Mithila 66 left. Absent. Infants with large VSD and evidence of increasing PVR should be operated as soon as possible. Infants who respond to medical therapy may be operated on by the age of 12 to 18 months. Asymptomatic children can be operated upon between 2 and 4 years of age. Contraindications are: whenever there is pulmonary hypertension developing, there is no point in operating. Okay. So pulmonary vascular occlusive disease with a predominant right to left shunt. Procedure. Pulmonary artery banding previously used to be done as a palliative procedure, now no longer being done. Okay, no longer performed unless additional lesions make complete repair difficult. Direct closure of the defect is carried out. Collar 2 has left, 2 absent. మళ్ళీ అర్నబ్ లెఫ్ట్ అని వచ్చింది. ఇందాక 12 ఉన్నా అన్నాడు.
Sir, present, sir.
మరి 12 ఎందుకు why it is showing left?
I don't know, sir.
Okay, direct closure of the defect is carried out under hypothermic cardiopulmonary bypass, preferably without right ventriculotomy. Most perimembranous and inlet VSDs are repaired by a transatrial approach. Okay, outlet defects are best approached through incision in the main pulmonary artery. Apical VSDs through apical right ventriculotomy. You have to open through the ventricle. Okay, here through atrium, transatrial repair of VSD. This is the best approached way. Okay, so synthetic patch has been applied here, if you see, and this is the perimembranous type of VSD, and through the atrium they are approaching here. So mortality, the surgical mortality rate is less than 1%. The mortality rate is higher for small infants younger than 2 months of age, infants with associated defects, and infants with multiple VSDs. Understood? Mortality rate is higher among smaller infants younger than 2 months of age, infants with associated defects, and infants with multiple VSDs. Complications. Commonest complication is right bundle branch block, RBBB, is frequent in patients repair via right ventriculotomy. Complete heart block requiring pacemaker occurs in 1 to 2% of patients. Residual shunt occur in fewer than 5%. The incidence of neurological complication is directly related to circulatory arrest time, cardiac arrest time. Reproductive issues. Pregnancy is well tolerated in women with small and moderate VSDs. Pregnancy is contraindicated in women with Eisenmenger syndrome because of high maternal and fetal mortality. Understood? So large VSDs in mother, we should avoid pregnancy. Okay, stay home, save lives. Thank you. Give your attendance in the chat box. 72, 79, 90, 121, 132, 2, 8, 29, 135, 146.
Sir, 90 present, sir.
90 you have left of Madhilo.
Sir, signal, sir.
Okay, for this time I am excusing. Next time if you left unnecessarily, it is not good. Understood? Give your
Okay,
attendance
sir.
in the chat. Okay?
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Your attendance in the chat box will collect.